Some people say that the breath is the most important part of yoga. It's what differentiates yoga from other forms of exercise. And I get a lot of questions about how to breathe properly during yoga class. So today I thought I would use this video to introduce the basics of yoga breathing and talk a little bit about why it's important that we breathe this way. Let's get started. First of all, in yoga, generally, we breathe in and out of our nose, smoothly and steadily. There are lots of benefits to breathing in and out of your nose. It slows the breath down, it warms up the breath, it filters the air, and it's calming for the nervous system. Now, of course, if you have any kind of nasal blockage or if you deal with allergies, please just breathe in whatever way is comfortable for you. But otherwise, I encourage you to notice as you go about your day-to-day life and check in and see if you tend to breathe in and out of your mouth as opposed to your nose. There's been a lot of research lately about the health benefits, the overall health benefits of nasal breathing as opposed to breathing in and out of your mouth. And so many of us are mouth breathers. If you want to learn more about that, I'm not going to go into any more detail on that, but check out this book. It's called Breath by James Nestor, and I really loved this book. He talks a lot about the breath, different things about the breath, but he does talk about the benefits of nasal breathing, and he does it in a very entertaining way while being educational. He's a great storyteller, highly recommended, and I'll drop the link down in the description so you can check that out. In certain styles of yoga, they teach something called Ujjayi breathing as a way to breathe throughout your entire practice. And from a yogic perspective, this is supposed to gather the energy, the prana, and make it more focused. I use this technique and I teach Ujjayi breathing, but not in every class, not as the go-to breathing technique, more as a specialized breathing technique that I use in certain cases where I feel like it might be beneficial to the client. If you'd like to explore Ujjayi breathing, it's basically just a constriction in the back of your throat that's narrowing the air pathway. So what's happening is that you're going to hear yourself breathing just very softly. It doesn't have to be loud. Different ways I've described this to my students before. This one is the one that resonates with me. If you hold a seashell up to your ear and hear that soft ocean sound, that's the sound we're going for. Other people resonate with, it's like Darth Vader. It's like the Darth Vader sound. So you can try that and see if that works for you. One way to explore it is to pretend that you are fogging up a mirror. So if you're having trouble finding that sound, you can open your mouth and fog up a mirror in and out. And then really feel that in the back of your throat, what it feels like to do that. Then try it with your mouth closed. So if you didn't find that just now, don't worry. Sometimes it takes a little exploration. And like I said, I personally believe that it's more important to just breathe smoothly and steadily in and out of your nose rather than always utilizing Ujjayi breathing, but I will say that other people do feel differently. Next up, it's important to breathe diaphragmatically, and I'll explain what that is, okay? So what I've noticed in a lot of my students is that they tend to breathe vertically, and the breath tends to get isolated up here in the chest, okay? Instead, I want us to start exploring breathing a little lower, a little deeper, and a little wider. So think width as you're breathing. So one way to explore this is to wrap your hands around your lower ribs, thumbs behind your body, and as you take air in, as you breathe in, start to feel your ribs, especially the lower ribs, expand out into your hands. And then on your exhale, the ribs draw back in and down. So inhale to expand, filling up like a balloon. And exhale as the air leaves to draw back in. Good. And we're not just breathing into the front of our body. We're breathing into the sides. We're breathing into the back. I call it a full 360 breath, and that'll help you access the diaphragm, which is our breathing muscle. I don't want to get too scientific on you. Just think low, deep, wide, and soft with the breath rather than up like this and up into the chest. And this is generally how we should be breathing through our day-to-day life too. Okay, moving on to number 3. In yoga, we generally connect breath to movement. So specifically when we do something called flow in yoga, we're connecting our breath to our movement. Sometimes that's one breath with one movement, and sometimes it's longer holds. There are exceptions to this, a lot of exceptions, but a general guideline when you're moving and breathing in yoga is that on the inhale, on your breath in, we tend to lift, we expand, we lighten, or we lengthen. And then on every exhale, on every breath out, we lower, we melt, we fold, we round, or we release. I'll show you a quick example connecting breath to movement using a half sun salutation. So you can do it with me if you like. You can just stand up anywhere, ground down in mountain pose, lifted chest and arms down by your side. And then on your inhale, we're lifting, we sweep our arms out and up, we create space. And then on our exhale, we fold forward, we soften down. On our inhale, it's halfway lift, so we're lengthening, right? We're lengthening our spine, we're lengthening our sides. And then on our exhale, we melt back down, we round. Inhale, we rise and lift, sweeping the arms out and up. Maybe we take a light back bend here at the top, lifting the chest. And then finally, on our exhale, we lower our hands down to our heart and return to center. So you can see how that works. Every inhale, we're lifting, we're lightening, we're expanding, and every exhale, we lower, we release, we soften. And finally, avoid holding your breath. The most important thing of all is to just breathe. And I'm being serious. A lot of my students, I would say the majority of my students, tend to hold their breath in moments of challenge, during more challenging postures. Our breath regulates our nervous system. So if we can train ourselves to keep our breath smooth, steady, and slow during our physical yoga practice, even during the times where we're working or trying really, really hard, then eventually the idea is that we'll be able to transfer that skill over to our daily lives. When we're dealing with stressors, we'll be more likely to stay aware of the breath, slow it down, and therefore calm our nervous system and take us out of fight or flight, making us more resilient. So let's sum it all up. If you can, in yoga, breathe in and out of your nose smoothly, steadily, and easefully. Breathe diaphragmatically. Go for low and wide breathing. Connect your breath to your movement when it makes sense in your practice. And finally, the most important thing of all, just keep breathing. So I encourage you to incorporate maybe just one of these tips into your next yoga practice. Explore it, try it on, see how it goes. And if it doesn't come easily to you, try not to get too frustrated. Remember, this is a practice and the breath is a very important part, but it can be just as challenging as the asanas, as the physical postures. So just keep exploring, keep practicing, and let me know how it goes for you. You can always leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. Remember to subscribe to my channel for new yoga videos every week to help you move better and feel better. And I will see you next time. Thank you for joining me.